Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I am so incredibly pumped you're here today. Now, if you're right around 10 years old, or honestly, even if you're just a kid at heart, this one is specially made for you. Today, we're talking about the absolute biggest, most epic event in the entire history of the world, and more importantly, how you can be ready for it. So let's dive right in, because we've got a lot of exciting ground to cover.
Seriously, think about this for a second. Have you ever slept through your alarm on a really important day? Just imagine it. It's the morning of the biggest soccer game of the year, or maybe your family's leaving super early for an awesome vacation to a theme park. Your parents set the alarm, but you sleep right through the whole thing. You wake up, look at the clock, and bam, your heart just drops into your stomach. That sudden, panicked feeling of oversleeping? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today, just on a much, much bigger scale.
So here's our survival guide map for today. Number 1, the big wake-up call. Number 2, are you spiritually asleep? 3, the invisible spiritual battle. 4, how to stay awake. And finally, number 5, trimming your lamp. All right, let's get into it.
Starting off with our first map point, Section 1, the big wake-up call. We need to set the stage here because an absolutely massive, world-changing event is rapidly approaching. Our source material points us to a core Bible verse, Romans 13:11. It says, "And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed." You know, when the writer says it's high time, that literally means it is urgent. Every single ticking second on the clock brings us closer to Christ's return. Our salvation, that ultimate rescue mission we're waiting for, is nearer today than it was yesterday. It's time to rub the sleep right out of our eyes.
So how do we actually know the alarm is ringing? Well, the text gives us some really clear signs. We're seeing reports of calamity, which, by the way, just means massive disasters, by sea and land. We hear about wars and rumors of wars. And look, if you've ever walked past the TV while the news is on, you already know the world can be a pretty chaotic place. But these aren't just scary news stories, right? They're signals. They're telling us that great events are opening before us. As the text so beautifully puts it, we can actually hear the footsteps of an approaching God. So the alarm clock isn't just buzzing, guys. It is ringing loud and clear.
And that brings us to Section 2. Are you spiritually asleep? Now, you might be sitting there thinking, hey, I'm watching this explainer right now, my eyes are wide open, I am definitely awake. But let's look at how it's actually possible to be asleep even when you're walking around in broad daylight.
Okay, so spiritual slumber means becoming careless, inattentive, and indifferent to reality. The text describes it as living in an unreal world while totally ignoring religious truth. Think of it kind of like this. Have you ever been so glued to a video game, you've got your headset on, completely zoned into the screen, that you didn't even notice your mom calling your name? Imagine being so focused on that game that an entire marching band with elephants and fireworks went right past your living room window and you completely missed it. That is exactly what spiritual slumber is like. You get so caught up in the unreal world of everyday distractions that you miss the massive reality of what's happening right around you.
As you can see, there's a massive difference between the two. Being asleep means you're careless. You're just floating along, repeatedly hitting that spiritual snooze button. But being awake, that means being sober, earnest, diligent, and watching unto prayer. It means being alert, taking things seriously, and actively paying attention to the real world and to your faith. Basically, it's the difference between just sleepwalking through your day and being on high alert, ready for the adventure.
Let's move right along to Section 3, the invisible spiritual battle. You see, the reason so many people are fast asleep isn't just because they're physically tired. There's an actual invisible war happening all around us right now, known as the Great Controversy.
And our source material gives us a really serious warning about this. It says that people who are ignoring the truth are enchanted by the enemy, held under a spell by his bewitching power. I mean, that sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel, doesn't it? But it's talking about absolute reality. The enemy uses distractions, maybe it's bad habits, constant entertainment, or just, making us stop caring, to cast this sleepy spell over us. He wants us to stay in that unreal, video game-like world so we just aren't prepared for the great day that's coming.
But here is the reality check. The Great Controversy is nearing its end. This invisible war between good and evil, it is almost over. And because the finish line is literally in sight, we absolutely cannot afford to be trapped under that sleepy spell. The blazing light of truth is shining all around us, and it is time to break free from the enchantment.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, how to stay awake. It's one thing to know the alarm is ringing, but what practical things can you, yes you, watching this right now, do today to break the spell and spring into action? Let's take a look.
Our source gives us 3 super actionable steps. Step 1, pray. The text tells us to watch unto prayer. Basically, pray that God helps you recognize the danger of falling asleep and ask Him to keep you alert. Step 2, perfect your character every single day. That means practicing being kind, being honest, and being brave even when it's really hard. And step 3, show your friends by your life that Christ is coming. The reading specifically asks if there are youth who are awake who can work with untiring energy to arouse their sleeping associates. That means you get to be an everyday hero. By living a great life and really caring about your faith, you can actually shake your friends awake and help them get ready too.
Now, I want to emphasize one absolutely vital number here: 1. The source text gives us a very serious heads up that the space of time between us and eternity is rapidly diminishing. What that means is every single day that passes leaves exactly one less day for us to complete our work of building a good character. Imagine a jar of marbles, right? And every day you take one out. Eventually, the jar will be empty. We don't have forever to get ready. We've got to make today count.
All right, let's move to our 5th and final section, trimming your lamp. Here, we're tying our modern wake-up alarm metaphor back to a classic idea of preparing your gear for the morning.
The author asks a super powerful, direct question. Have you, dear youth, your lamps trimmed and burning? Now, back in the day, way before we had LED flashlights or cell phones, people used oil lamps. And to make sure the lamp would work instantly the second it got dark, you had to cut off the burnt part of the wick, which is called trimming, and make sure it was completely full of oil. If you didn't do the work ahead of time, you'd be left stumbling around in the pitch black. Today, trimming your lamp means having your backpack packed the night before, your shoes by the door, and, most importantly, your heart totally ready for Jesus. So I want you to really ask yourself, are you ready? Is your lamp burning brightly?
So, here's the big takeaway from all this. Wake up, build your character, and light the way for your friends today. The alarm is ringing, the footsteps are approaching, and the greatest rescue mission in human history is almost here. Please don't hit the snooze button on your spiritual life. Jump out of bed and get that lamp burning. Because the real question is, if that final alarm were to ring tomorrow morning, would you be ready? Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and I'll catch you on the next one.